Want coffee? Ew. I wasn't planning on having you on the intro. Well, I guess this works. Bar fights and bar shootouts. They're great. You're really distracting. Anyway, there's a certain reason why I decided to make my top 5 bar fights / shootouts. And I'm sticking with Western movies, cause there's a lot in Asia. You know, all those kung fu fights and even shootouts when you look at John Woo movies and all that. So yeah, I just went with Western movies here. This is kind of fastly put together list. I might have forgotten a lot. I remembered a lot too, but I've also forgotten a lot. Now the reason why I wanted to do this list now is cause, well, New Year's Eve, I'm losing my second home. And that fucking sucks. Now you might be asking yourself, what are you, some kind of rich cunt? Second home? What's that got to do with bar fights? What I mean by second home, my favorite bar is closing down. My usual place. For over 20 years. I don't know, I just wanted to do something bar related. In memory of that place. The place was called Baronitar, which means baroness. Nice little small place, good food, alcohol that gets you drunk, nice staff, and a lot of assholes as customers. But I know those assholes, so I want to have a place where I can hang out with those assholes in case I want to hang out with those assholes. Okay, you're starting to be really distracting here. This is Randy, by the way. But yeah, top 5 bar action scenes, because there's gonna be shootouts and there's gonna be fighting. You really gotta go down now. Or up. Goddamn Harry. Oh, number 5 spot on this list had to be the legendary. Which one of us hasn't gotten beaten up in a bar cause our dancing's been just fucking awful? Am I the only one? Actually, I haven't gotten beaten up because of that. Well, at least not yet, but I'm sure it's been close. But from that hint, you might have guessed already what's coming up first. World's greatest dancing movie. Dirty Dancing, Flashdance, High School Musicals. I don't know, they do some dancing in those, I guess. I've never seen those. What other? Step Up? Was that one thing? I don't really watch dance movies that much, but even though those are like the big dance movies, there's always that one dance scene that people always share, their gifs and all that, cause it's better than all those other dance movies put together. Kickboxer. Jean-Claude Van Damme, I had to sneak him in this list some way. While the fighting part in that scene isn't really like that great, but it's just how it starts. I always loved that scene, that's one of my favorite action scenes. Well, favorite bar action scenes. It's number 5. Van Damme's training to be a Muay Thai fighter in Thailand, and there's the master who's teaching him. What he does is get Van Damme drunk, and then he wants to see Van Damme dance, just to observe his balance. And then we get to, like I said, possibly the greatest dance scene in cinema history.
Oh yeah, dancing, I'm good. Why? Like to see you dance.
While Van Damme's doing the moves on the dance floor with a couple of chicks, the master's going around and telling all these guys something. I can't actually remember what. Yeah, something to piss him off. Cause it was all a ruse, and apparently that old guy was just an asshole. Next thing you know, all those guys are attacking Van Damme, and while the choreograph and all that for the fight scene, it's not like the greatest, I love this scene. It's mostly the dancing part, it's so 80s, and the music's great too, I fucking love it. Yeah, there's not much going, but man, those Van Damme splits, they always look great. It's a cult classic, and it also serves as a warning. If you're gonna dance uniquely, just be ready to back that up. Some people might be weirded out. I know. Number 4 on this list, and I gotta be honest, I never thought this guy would make my list, and especially above Van Damme. But here we are, and a lot of people seem to hate this guy, but you can't deny his first movies, they were just kick-ass action movies. I don't know if success went into his head, but he seems kind of douchey, like real douchebag. Anyway, before I reveal number 4 spot in this bar action scene list, I got 2 questions for you.
Anybody see Richie?
Fuck you.
Anybody know why Richie did Bobby Lupo?
Ah yes, Out for Justice. Great action movie. Steven Seagal, I don't hate him. His first 5 movies, they were fire. They were action classics. Whatever you say about the guy, first 5 movies, they fucking rock. Nico, Marked for Death, Hard to Kill, Out for Justice, and Under Siege. I believe his first movie, Nico, is also known as Above the Law in some places, so here it's called Nico. But yeah, Out for Justice, it's a legendary scene. Steven Seagal walks into a bar full of gangsters and all kinds of bad people. Like he's got brass balls the size of melons? I don't know, something big and round. And they all yelling, he ain't nothing without his badge and his gun, so what does Steven Seagal do? Well, empties the clip. Takes out the clip. Well, he does fire a couple of rounds upstairs. And I love the weird dialogue change with one of the bad guys there.
Are you totally fucking nuts or what? You could have killed somebody upstairs.
But there ain't nobody upstairs.
There's nobody upstairs. How would you know? Did you bust in a joint?
That's so specific and weird. So anyway, Steven Seagal puts aside his gun and takes off his badge, and then it's even playing field for him and the bad guys. But what the bad guys don't know, this is Steven Seagal. It is so legendary, and my god, it's brutal. It looks like it really fucking hurts. He takes one of the pool balls, wraps it in some kind of cloth, and starts swinging the bad guys. It's that one guy who gets it in the face and then spits out teeth. Oh. And that's not all. It seems like all the bad guys are like Italian or from Brooklyn or whatever. But for some weird reason, they had to throw in one Asian guy there who knows his ways around sticks. Obviously to give Steven Seagal the excuse to break in half one of the pool sticks and do stick battle. How weirdly random is that? It looks great. He's so fast. Everyone's always making fun of Steven Seagal and Aikido and all that bullshit, but let's face the facts. At least in early 90s, he could have kicked probably all of our asses. Well, most of our asses. I mean, he was big, strong, and fast. I mean, all the stunt guys were always complaining how he kind of took things a bit too far. He was that type of asshole who really liked to connect with his stunt. And obviously, these being American stuntmen, they always complain. Not like in Hong Kong, where they're like, kick me in the face as hard as you can, throw me down those stairs and through that window, and let's hope I don't die. Hong Kong stuntmen, they were a different breed. Jackie Chan. But yeah, Out for Justice. Whatever you think about Steven Seagal, Out for Justice is an action classic. Now when it comes to number 3 on this list, we're gonna take a whole different direction. This one, you might say this is probably the most classical bar fight scene out of all in this list. Because usually when you think about bar fights, everyone's just fighting there randomly against everyone. That's how it usually goes in movies. But what makes this different is this one's quite gory. And also the people are fighting against vampires. That's right, I'm putting From Dusk Till Dawn here. It's a 90-minute movie, and basically the second half is just bar fight against vampires. I love that movie, and that end fight scene, which is the latter half of the movie pretty much. There are a couple of breather scenes, but still, it's pretty much just fighting against vampires. It's so great, I love it, especially the start part where everyone's still alive. I mean, all those truckers and those bikers who that bar is kind of meant for, and those strippers turn into vampires, and Danny Trejo, who's the bartender, he turns into a vampire, and there's Salma Hayek.
I call a fucking show.
You know what? Probably the sexiest dancing scene in movie history. Salma Hayek with that snake. But still, Kickboxer is better, the dancing part. Look, I like classics, and nobody does moves like Van Damme. Not even Salma Hayek. Vampires are ripping humans to pieces, and humans are trying to kill the vampires, rip them to pieces, so yeah, even playing field. There's wooden stakes, there's handguns, there's whips, there's dick gun. Which is fantastic. And towards the end, there's even super soakers with holy water in. And also, whatever in the name of impracticality George Clooney has. That kind of, it's like a chainsaw, but there's wooden stake going. That seemed wrong. I always thought that was one of the coolest, but most dumbest weapon ever you could get. So stupid, but it's so cool. Gotta tip my hat to Robert Rodriguez. He does bar scenes like no one else, and he has weird ideas. And number 2 spot, this one goes to one legendary scene that's from actually really great movie, like a masterpiece movie. But it's just how they build towards the scene throughout the whole movie, and how they execute the scene. It is so good. It's some of the best filmmaking ever. I love how the dialogue actually built towards the ending bar scene, and it actually explains why all the bad guys are so crappy shots. There's just so cleverly written hints and all that just builds into that final confrontation. It is a masterpiece. It won Oscars. It deserved them. It deserved more Oscars. And I'm talking about Unforgiven.
We're gonna chase these fellas clear down to Texas, so don't spend too much of your own money, right? We're gonna divide up into 4 parties.
Talk about end scene where just hatred and kind of sadness too, and just all kind of negative human attributes or human personal traits, personalities kind of meet in that last scene. You're kind of rooting for one person, but even that person isn't a good person. It's so well done. Just the showdown. You got Clint Eastwood and Gene Hackman. And Gene Hackman's got, a bunch of friends there. There's like probably 10 guys there on top of Gene Hackman. And Clint Eastwood walks in with double-barreled shotgun. Clint Eastwood just asks who's running the bar and then shoots him.
Who's the fella owns this shithole?
So he's got only 1 barrel left and there's, a handful of guys. It doesn't feel stupid like, let's say, Commando, where there's army of guys shooting Arnold and everyone misses. This one actually explained what's happening if you paid any attention to the earlier dialogue in this movie. It's just so well built, how people can panic when there's actual firefight scene. Even though it's a small bar, like there's not a lot of room.
When he fires that, take out your pistols and shoot him down like the mangy scoundrel he is.
I don't want to spoil too much about this movie. It's a masterpiece. If you're into westerns, watch this. Or if you're just into gritty, sad, just human wreck stories, I highly recommend this movie, Unforgiven. And that's all I'm going to say about it. It's something that everyone should watch themselves. It's a masterpiece movie. And then we get to number 1. Now, as great as Van Damme's dancing is, or how badass Steven Seagal was while he was looking for Richie, or how gory From Dusk Till Dawn was with vampires and all that, or how just plain masterpiece Unforgiven is. There's one movie and one shootout scene that towers them all. I swear I've seen this movie probably 100 times, and just the action scenes probably 1,000 times. I'm not kidding. Okay, 1,000 might be kidding a little bit, but at least like 300-400 times. Because on top of watching them myself, there was a period of like probably, 10 years? Me and my friend, every time we drank, we put on those scenes. Every time. It's just so good. It's a masterpiece action scene. I love it. I never get tired of watching this. The music, the actors, it all fits great. Now I know you're dying to hear what the movie is, but not yet. Desperado, one of the most underrated action movies in history of action movies. It's great. It's pure action. It's so well built. I mean the choreographs and all that. The action scenes look phenomenal. I could have also put another bar shootout from this movie, which starts the movie where Steve Buscemi is kind of telling the story, and that is also so great because he's kind of overblowing the story and making it bigger. And Antonio Banderas is who's the main character in this. He's shooting people and they're just flying through air. He has his sawn-off double-barreled shotgun and if you're into action movies, this movie is like porn for you. But the bar scene, Antonio Banderas just walks in, he has a guitar case. Cheech Marin is playing barkeep, and because of Steve Buscemi, he's already heard.
We all heard stories of a guitar case full of guns. Just had to make sure.
The bar is full of just lowlifes, just full of bad guys, and one of them just grabs the guitar case, opens it. It's a guitarra. I come every time during this scene. The guitar just raises, and beneath there are grenades and pistols and all kinds of stuff you can use to kill a man. That's when they know this is the killer. Banderas knows there's no way out except shooting your way out. Whoo! Just ton of guys, and Banderas is walking the bar table, the desk, the long bar counter. I knew that word when I remember it. Yeah, Banderas is walking that bar counter with 2 pistols, and just the moves, how he's shooting, he's kind of like flicking the bullets almost, and doing a little behind the back shooting. It's like ballet, but for boys. Unless you're a boy who likes ballet, well then ballet is ballet for you. But this is like ballet for action junkies. Just so well executed scene. I love it. It never gets stale. Like I said, I watched that probably 300-400 times. Could be more. I wouldn't be surprised. 10-year span. We watch that we still do. It's been like 15 years from that 10-year span. Actually, just last Saturday we watched it again. Cause it's great, especially when you're drinking. It's perfection. And again, Robert Rodriguez, like from Dusk Till Dawn. He knows how to make bar brawls, bar fights, bar shootouts. If you haven't seen Desperado and you like action films, what are you doing with your life? Go pick it up watch it. Anyway, that was the list of my top 5 favorite bar action scenes, and like I mentioned there, my favorite bar is closing down. For over 20 years I've been there. I do feel like kind of piece of me is taken away. I've spent more time in that bar than in school, probably. I'm pretty sure. Some of you might be able to tell that. Not exactly a scholar. Here's actually a picture of my favorite seat. That corner seat, I've sat there so many times. Oh, I used to be pissed when someone else was sitting there, but then again, a lot of other people were pissed when I was sitting there too, because everyone wanted that corner seat. I've had so many great conversations just sitting there with the bartender or with some of the clients, and yeah, it sucks because economy is kind of down everywhere, and Finland really doesn't like supporting small businesses, but then again, which place these days does? It seems like everything's just big, huge corporation. That place had personality. It was my second home, like I said. Actually, there was a point where I was homeless for 2 or 3 weeks, and I was crashing at my aunt's place. I used that place to just sleep in, but pretty much nothing else, you know. Reason why I was homeless was alcohol-related stuff. I was living in an apartment, it was a rental place, and let's just say one night I came home, and back then I had the terrible habit of, while I was drunk, I went in the shower. You might guess where this is going. Next morning, I woke up when someone was poking me. Are you okay? Are you alive? What are you doing in my goddamn bathroom? I'm naked and shit. Well, it was the fireman, and I lived on the 3rd floor, so downstairs, whoever lived there actually phoned the landlord, and she phoned in the firemen, and yeah, they came in and well, I pretty much packed my bags, and I went to stay with my aunt. And landlord said that after they're done drying up the house and apartment and all that, they'd prefer if I found some other place to crash or live in. So yeah, I was kind of homeless for 2 or 3 weeks. But every day during those 2 or 3 weeks, I went into Baroness after work, and I ate there. You know, I had a steak, I had a few beers, and then I went and I basically just slept in my aunt's place and nothing else. But yeah, a lot of great memories, even about my dad. Well, not my biological dad, but a man who was my dad in all other senses. He passed like, I don't know, 17, 18 years ago, and we sat there in that bar a lot of time. He actually introduced me to Desperado, which is kind of funny coincidence. Oh, also, here's a picture of my last meal in that bar. That was a good burger. There was bacon and an egg. Yeah, good food there. The last picture I want to show is the barkeep. Here it is. Yeah, that's usually how things went there. She was kicking me out because I was too drunk or loud or whatever. Actually, no, I think I got surprisingly little kicked out of there throughout these years. There's been a couple of times when they've said that you've had enough, you know, why don't you fuck off. I did ask permission to use the picture. She's great. She's my favorite barkeep in this whole world. People usually say dogs are man's best friend. Fuck that. Cats are. And below cats are your personal barkeeps. And below that are dogs. I'm a cat person, you know that. I don't hate dogs, but I prefer cats and barkeeps. Barkeeps are great. They're like the greatest people on earth. Because they're like the priest and therapist at the same, except on top of that, they sell you beer. I don't know why priests and therapists haven't thought of that. I think of the clientele, I mean, it would explode. Churches are dull. Yeah, you might get some wine, but it's like one sip. But yeah, she's the greatest barkeep in the world. Over these 20 years, she's seen me at my lowest and my highest. And also when I'm doing good. Weed joke. So you know when people say, if I die, go erase my browser history? If I die, take her out. She knows too much. She's my browser history. I'm kind of counting that she's forgotten most, but women, her memory? Pfft, too good. Why would biology give good memory to such an evil beings? Am I right? Huh? Unless there's female viewers, then congrats on the good memory. Anyway, I'm gonna end this video now. Fuck off, and I'll fuck off, and I'm gonna miss that place. It's like losing a second home. Kind of losing like part of your family, a big chunk of your family.